whatsoever, a story is always behind it. Story is the foundation for the kind of content you are trying to create, right? Each brand has to be able to, connect and engage with their target audience, right? So another thing is that each brand, each business, has to be able to have a brand identity. This is specific to what your brand is about, who you are, what you're trying to say, what product or services you're trying to offer them, right? Um, the next slide. All right. Now, what do you need to tell a great story? Okay. Um, yeah, the next slide, Victoria. No. Okay. So a picture is worth 1,000 words. So when you are trying to create a kind of content, right? It wouldn't just be, words behind it. It wouldn't just be, speaking and people wouldn't be able to see what it is you're trying to do. Now, if you have a business, if you have a brand, before your content comes out, you probably have a picture who, when people see it, they'll be able to, probably have their own perspective of what they can tell from the picture that you have, posted, right? So behind the storytelling, behind the contents, behind the blogs, whatever you write, even when even when you're writing a blog, when you post it on your social media, there has to be a picture there, that signifies what the brand or what the story you're trying to tell, which emphasize on what the slides here say, that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So the next slide. Now, first, it's all about how you frame your story that you are trying to tell. You need to keep up with the audience and tone in mind. So you don't just, create content to everybody, right? You probably have your specific target audience who are, the essential people you are going to communicate with, those who are going to patronize, from your business, from your brand, those who are going to follow you, those who are going to be your target, market, right? So it's the story you have to create, the content you have to put out for your business has to be able to resonate with them. They have to be able to understand that, okay, yes, I can understand this. I can, they probably have some sort of experience before, or they've gone through something similar. So if they are able to, understand what it is you're trying to say, it's more easier for them to know what your brand story is all about. So, you need to keep your target audience and tone in mind, but to reality, you have to nail your branding story, right? You need to understand the golden circle, which is what I will explain now. The next slide, please. So the golden circle, this was developed by Simon Sinek. He was an ex-advertising executive, and an author, who was best known for his concept, the golden circle, right? Now, the golden circle focused on creating resonance with the target audience driven by human motivation, beliefs, emotion, and value. That is to say that people don't buy what you do. Most people don't usually care why you're doing what you're doing. They probably just need what it is that you have to offer. They buy why you do it. If you have a reason behind why you're providing your business to them, most people are more inclined to, patronize you. So Snike said, like, based on my understanding of what this golden circle is, it is like, if you want people to buy what you are doing, they are literally or metaphorically, if you have service, if whatever service or business you are trying to offer the public, right? So you need a artful way, to convey to them um, why you are doing it. So, like, in other words, you need people to care about your organization, for them to be able to buy stuff from you or your ideas. You need to understand what is driving you to do what you do. People don't just buy products or services from people who, maybe at first glance they will just buy it. No, it takes time for people to um it takes more time for more people to, resonate with what you are doing for your business, right? So some people, they might they might, maybe when they see the service you are offered, they need it immediately. So some people may say that, okay, they can just patronize you immediately, but some people need to understand you very before they can, trust in what it is that you're trying to offer. Only then will they now be able to, open their minds, their hearts, and their wallets to you, right? So it's like it's a concept where people are attracted to the company, right, with a sense of purpose. Every business has to have a purpose after all, because that is one of the major things that drive what your business is going to be all about entirely. As it's not just very often that how would I say this? Okay, people are more attracted to what it is that you do, right? It's not just very often as per evidence, considering that maybe when people have bought previous things before and they didn't meet their requirements. So for them to be able to patronize what your business is all about, they need to be able to understand that, okay, you are different from others, which is why your story is unique to you. So next slide, please. Now, what do you need to tell a great story? All right, next slide. Now, we need three essential things to tell a great story. It's like the basic foundation for every storytelling, for every content creation that you do. The first one is character, right? With any good story, there's always a character. There's always has to be a character, whether it's in business, whether it's in movies, whether it's in content creation, there has to be a character in the content that you are trying to do or your storytelling. Every story revolves around at least one character, right? There has to be that character who has gone through similar thing as your target audience, right? Now, with content marketing, the people who are involved are the readers, which are the audiences, right? So the storytelling can't happen without valuing and understanding your target audience. As I have said before, you need to be able to understand who you are telling your story to. You can't just stand in front of the streets, for example, you can't just stand in front of the street and start talking. Nobody would, listen to what it is that you have to say, even if what you're saying, makes sense to you or to some specific people. But if you don't have, your target audience or your target market, it to just, feel like a waste, right? So you should always, storytelling can't happen without valuing and understanding your target audience. You should always listen, and respond to what your target audience wants and need. In marketing, your target audience isn't always you. You can't just be telling your story, a story that only you understand, right? It's often your target audience or their aspiration. Now, when your target audience see your story, some of them can be reflected, can see their reflection in what it is that you're trying to say, right? It creates a personal connection with them, and they're like, yes, I've experienced something similar, or I know someone who has experienced something similar. So most people now even create content based on what it is their target audience say. That is their on the comment section. I don't know. On the comment section, they know what pains their target audience are experiencing for them to be able to create the content on, to resonate with them in that way. So the next slide, please. Now, like I said, right, awesome words are needed. It can't just be entirely pictures. Although pictures, videos, tell a story entirely. They tell a story on their own, right? Everybody can perceive pictures differently. But if you have words that be able to direct your target audience to what message you're trying to pass across, that would be the most useful thing for content creation and storytelling. All right, the next slide. Now, the second great way to tell a story is conflict, right? So this is the lesson in how the character transforms through challenges, right? So an emphasis on the lesson. When it comes to content marketing and storytelling, the power is in what you are trying to teach. Now, in every content creation, in every storytelling, people need to be able to derive one thing or the other from what information you have passed across to them, right? Now, conflict helps build development. It builds an emotional dynamic. It helps make a connection between two entities. That is the human-to-human connection. As part they are the foundation for a successful business. This is, when people can resonate that, okay, a story doesn't just go, everything doesn't usually go as planned, right? There's always going to be some sort of obstacle stopping the way, and which is why in storytelling, the character has to be able to overcome the conflict before he can, achieve what goals he's trying to, achieve, right? So, the next slide. Right. So, for the next slide. So, yeah, resolution now is the third and final one. When there's conflict, the audience would naturally, want some sort of resolution. There has to be an happy ending to every story. Now, for that conflict, right, it should be in marketing, it should be something relating to your product or your service that can be solved, which is why your business exists, right? The conflict is something, a challenge your target audience are going through, and you as the business owner would now present a solution to them, to resolve the issues that they have, right? When the idea of a resolution is to provide a context and emotion for the audience to relate to, and process the story. The resolution, wraps around the story, which should also clearly call your target audience to action. Because at the end of the day, when you've told your whole story, when you've done your content creation, you would have to drive, your people to your business to be able to patronize you. Right. All right. Next slide. Now, okay. So, building a content creation framework. Now, why does your business need a content creation framework? It's the structure, for publishing content from the beginning stage to the post-production stage, for the post-publication, right? In this framework, we take consideration of the topic to the features to the customers, the partners, what message would what information would your message pass across to your target audience, right? You have to be able to educate them in one way or the other. It could not be entirely about the education. It could be entertainment, right? It could be informational. It could be informative. It could be descriptive. It could be anything, right? But at the end of the day, you need to be able to resonate with who your target audience are. That's when you're linking your story to your target audience to your business, right? Now, the steps in creating a single piece of content, it revolves around research, planning, editing, and more. And the content creation framework that is repeatable and organized and agile can make your content, creation more smoother and more rewarding. When you have a framework that you always set to do, right? When you have a framework that this is what your business follows, it makes it more easier for you than, every time you want to create a content or create a story, you would, have to start from scratch. But once you have a framework, it's something, that, okay, this is the process we have to go through to derive at our post publication. So in the next slide there are steps to how, yeah. So how to build your content creation framework. We have the conceptualizing content, we have the planning and timing, we have creating a workflow, reviewing and editing content, and organizing and storing the content. So I would briefly just explain what all these 5 content creation framework are. So next slide. So in the first step, conceptualizing content is, it's coming up with an appropriate idea for your content offer. Right, a content offer is something you create and publish in exchange for personal information like a name, email address. As you gather your ideas, focus on creating contents for every stage of the buyer's journey. Now, this is the first stage where you probably don't have enough information about who your target audience are. So in this content, in this first step of the content, you need to get information on who your target audience are. You need to have their contact information, that's their email and their name. So when you try to publish contents outside, of storytelling. Or it could still be revolving around storytelling too. But when I try to reach out to them through their personal information, through their emails or WhatsApp or whatever, you would first have to get the information from them using contents. And now this content wouldn't solely be on the storytelling itself. It could just be a minor thing where you would, the essential goal for that content is just to get information on who your target audience are. For you to be able to, have a strategic document or to build a framework on the next step for your content creation, right? For your storytelling, right? So the second step is, the second step. Yeah. So the second step is planning a timeline. Now, when putting together a timeline, you have to keep in mind to always maintain agility while having the time to execute on your initiatives. When planning content creation over a span of a quarter, try to have at least 2 or 3 contents to offer, that you want to create, and organize your content for your buyer's journey stage. Now, this is, when you have, the information on who your target audience are, and then you want to create, you can obviously just start creating, your content on the day you want to post, right? So once you have, a framework that your business use, you would, have, to make it easier for you to execute, on your initiative. Once you already have the idea of what kind of content you're trying to, create. So on the third, time up. Okay, let me hurry up. On the third step, so this is when you create a workflow. In the context of content creation, a workflow is an intuitive breakdown of the content creation work. It consists of the sequence of steps a piece of content moves through from the initial content to the publication. Your workflow should clearly identify who will do what. I think this revolves around, would I say, a project management stage where there's the idea, there's the strategy, there's everything that needs to be done. Now in content creation, you would have the writers, you would have the designers, you would have the cameraman, you would have different roles for your content and your stories to be published. So this is where you would distribute, you would distribute your the workload for everyone, to ensure effective workflow for your content creation. So on the fourth stage, on the fourth step, yes, fourth step. Yeah, on the fourth step, when all work has been done, we'd start reviewing and editing what's content. You need a reviewer system in place so that your content is accurate, professionally written, and aligns with your brand. Now, you don't just tell a story randomly, right? At the end of the day, your story has to be able to particularly be on your brand, right? Now, depending on your team setup, this review process could, involve working in and out with an in-house or freelancer editor. That is if your team, doesn't have a specific rule for the kind of content you're trying to create, right? You would also need to have an SEO specialist format, and to update the content. Now, this SEO specialist is the search engine optimization for when your contents have gone out of, post publication. You would the SEO specialist would be able to, rank your content so that once people, search for a particular thing about your brand, or it may not even necessarily be about your brand, it could be based on a business or services that you have to offer, your content would come out on top. So for the fifth and final framework, so for the fifth and final, this is when organizing and storing the content. Once your content is all set and done, you have to store it in a centralized location where your team can be able to access it, like we do with Bincom, where obviously all content, all information, all work has to be stored on Google Drive. So it makes it easier for the the next time you want to create a content, rather than trying to rack your brain, trying to do everything from scratch, you can just go back to what you've done before from your Google Drive or Dropbox, and then understand it, try to improve on the contents you have done previously, and try to make your content, your storytelling more easier to understand, which is critical because it is for repurposing and reusing it's for repurposing and reusing work, right? So that's just basically what the storing and organizing of content is all about. This is just basically what the framework, well, I summarized everything, but this is basically the essential part of what your content framework should be about. So on the next slide, yeah, so the primary, yeah, I think this is what I was talking about for the framework. There are primary type of responsibilities for content creation. Now, you can't obviously do everything alone. So there has to be a content manager and strategist. There has to be a writer. There has to be an editor, a designer, and the one who distributes the content. Every role in the content creation process, lies on not just yourself, but different individuals of your team. So this is just basically what content creation, the power of storytelling is all about. So why, let me just round up a bit. So why does storytelling work in content marketing, right? You need to be able to have an emotional connection. You need to have to be relatable to your target audience. A great story makes your audience feel understood and valued. You have to be you have to build trust for your business. People need to be able to know that, okay, they can trust you, and you show rather than you tell. You don't talk all the time. You just show based on what it is that you have to offer, how well you communicate with your audience, and the engagements as well. People are naturally drawn to narratives, making, when your contents are more engaging, they are able to sense some kind of value from what it is that you're trying to offer. So oh shit, I didn't even ask if anyone was still listening, but I hope I was able to this comes to the end of my presentation actually, but thank you. So Victoria, that's the end of my presentation. Does anyone have any question based on the presentation? Yes, so
Okay, from my end, were you about saying you hope you're able to convince us and not to confuse us, right?
yes. Yes.
Okay, so I like your presentation. Every slide depicted your what should I call it now? The title, your aim for
Yes.
presenting, which is storytelling. So it's very, very engaging, and this is beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, so please, if we have questions, please let's ask. I want to go to the very first slide.
Good morning. Yeah, please stop there. Go back, please, Victoria. Good morning.
Here.
No, again, go back again.
Back. Here.
No, backward, not there. Like the third of it, third page. Yeah. Stop there. Go back. Move forward.
Yeah.
Yes. So this question now goes to the presenter. Say them people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Now you see that the phrase there is confusing me, honestly. Because you say people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. How would people buy items for me because of the reason why I do it, not because of why I'm selling
Okay.
it? Like you're saying, people come to me to purchase my item because I want to sell it to make money, not because I'm selling it for customers to meet, for customers to be able to like get the items in their particular environment or areas. So like, I need more highlight on it, please.
Okay. So would I say it's a bit of metaphorically speaking, because it says people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So let me just give an example. People are attracted to company with a sense of purpose, right? Now there are some organizations who just do things like you said now, you do it because you want to sell, right? You just want to sell. You just want to make money at the end of the day. You know, if you tell a story like that, it looks as if you don't it looks as if you don't care about your customers, right? This is just speaking on the storytelling and the content creation aspects of it. You know, as an advertising, yeah, for him now, as an advertising executive, you when you run ads or when you do a market campaign or video, you know, you need to be able, the people need to know why you are doing that thing. This is because when they understand why you are doing it, people are able to resonate with you more because they are able to understand that, okay, why you're doing it might be similar to why they would want to buy what you have to offer, or why they would want to join your WhatsApp group, or why they would have to drop your information, their emails, you know. So if this talks more on, you know, engaging more with your target audience. If you just, you know, do it, if you just create a business because you just want to make money, and then you start making content creation based on that reality of what you are doing, they would not resonate with you more because they'll feel like you don't care about them, you just care about the money they are trying to offer. So for content creation, for storytelling, it doesn't work like that, because if you tell a story, right, based on why you are doing it, if you have a background of how you started your business, I'm sure if you've seen, there are some businesses, there are some people online where, you know, sometimes they don't entirely sell, they don't entirely do content on their products. It's not always every time. They always do more of things on, you know, engagements or social, on trust. You know, they try to build trust with their target audience, right? If people are able to see that, okay, you are doing this thing because you care about the business that you're trying to do, you care about the business that you're offering them, you know, you genuinely provide solution to their conflicts. That is, you know, the problem that they have at hand. They'll be more inclined to, you know, purchase from you. They'll be more inclined to buy from you. You know, a story would necessarily talk about um or what, how would I use it? It necessarily talks about what you've done in the past. Everybody likes a story. Everybody wants to hear a story. Everybody wants to, you know, see how you started your business, what drove you to do this. But if you say at the end of the day, you know, you just buy it, you just do it because, you know, you want to make money at the end of the day, not everyone might be inclined to, you know, purchase from you. Some will do it because at the end of the day, they might need it immediately. So they don't really have, you know, that value of time to start looking for people who they would, you know, trust before they can purchase from. But at the end of the day, you know, when you're trying to build when you're trying to build connection with your target audience, you need to be able to resonate with them in the sense that, you know, they feel like, okay, this guy, I understand him. You know, he does something like me. He started, you know, his business because he genuinely wanted to help others, not because he just wanted the monetary aspect of, you know, the business, right? So that's just basically what, you know, people don't buy what you do, you know, they buy why you do it. So I hope I was able to, you know, shed more light on your question.
Yeah, I get your response, but due to time, I don't want to push forward again my question, because for me, I'm still not like satisfied with this your response, because for the reason why you
Okay.
do it, and the reason why you said people buy what you do, and people buy what you do, they don't buy why you do it. The people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. I'm still not satisfied with your response, but I will take from I will just take it like that because we have short time. Maybe some other time.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, we're out of time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Samuel. So we have just 1 minute to go. And thank you so much for the presentation. I feel maybe when there's time to talk more about this. Maybe.
All right.
Fasakin, you didn't tell us the team you belong to.
Yes, I'm part of the digital marketing team.
Oh,
Yes.
it's okay. All right. Okay, that's
All right.
nice. Thank you everyone for joining. I hope you have learned one or two. Do have a productive day.
Thank you.